Hello, video. Today we're going to take a look at the top teams for the Great League for season 13 of the Go Battle League. We finally actually got new updates, and the teams I'm going to showcase today are going to be mainly around those upgrades. We're going to have another video later on today for the remixed version of the Great League, so stay tuned for this. Leave a like on the video if you haven't already, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's take a look at the meta real quick. Taking a look now at the meta, we're going to see in the first 3 spots something that's kind of telling for the meta in general, which is going to be a Registeel, a Bastion, and a Stunfisk. All 3 have one thing in common. It's actually they have 2 things in common. Both of all of them are Steel types, and all of them are pretty nice answers to Flying type Pokemon, which take on the meta now. We will see on rank 4 Pelipper being now there, which is super spammy with Weather Ball, thanks to the wing attack buff. Very, very strong now. Definitely has next to no hard answers, which is saying we have the Noctowl here on rank 6. We're going to have a Pidgeot on rank 9, which is actually way underrated than people think it is. Like Pidgeot going to be one of the best Pokemon. Like, not gonna lie, try it out. I think it's going to be super, super strong. Wing attack plus Feather Dance together will be so annoying to deal with. Like, you basically completely destroy the attack of the opponent in like 6 fast moves, which is insane. Like, Pidgeot, way underrated. I kind of want to run it for regions as well, but I don't think I find a team for it, so most likely not going to use it, but it's crazy. You have Gliscor there again. You have Mantine here again. So many Wing Attack users. If we take a look real quick at Wing Attack itself, we will see how many new Pokemon are in the top 100 here. This are 14 Pokemon with a Wing Attack in the top 100. This is the most common move in the top 100 with that as well. You're going to see, of course, a lot of Shadow versions of Pokemon here, as a lot of them have the Shadow versions available for them. But in general, Wing Attack buff going to make something like Charizard really strong. Like, Charizard is going to be something you have to take a look at. Gligar, Gliscor, all of them really good and very interesting as well. Moltres is most likely a little bit overhyped here, but in general, Wing Attack going to be the new meta. You're going to see a ton of Pelipper, you're going to see a ton of Noctowl, you're going to see a ton of Pidgeots, you're going to see a ton of Gliscor. Definitely you're going to see them all everywhere, I would say. And what we can take a look at as well here are some good answers for this, because what you're also going to see here, Ninetales doesn't have Charm anymore because Powder Snow now is better, because A, we have more flying types, and B, Charm got nerfed. But also Spark version of Lantern going to be really good, and we're going to see a fraction here of Ice types that are all now buffed as well. So basically Ice types are good again. We're going to have more play again. We have Lantern, which is going to have more play again. Steel types still going to be very strong. Flying type is going to be everywhere, and we're going to take a look on some teams now which could be good in this meta. The first team here going to be an old classic that has now way more play. The Stunfisk has more play against all those flyers now, because like, yeah, more flyers going to be available, more Pokemon that Stunfisk can wall. We're going to have the Safe Swap now of the Pelipper, which is one of the best Pokemon now at rank 4. And we're going to have in the back a Grass type, depending on what you want to run, depending also on what you face. The Jumpluff is very decent, or also the Venusaur is very decent. This team around, I think around like season 4, 5, 6, 7 around there was really common, really good. And then we had the Weather Ball nerf for the Pelipper, which made it a little bit worse, but now as Pelipper got buffed again, this team is definitely very good in the current meta and should work out pretty well. The next team going to be most likely one of the teams that I would want to run the most here. We're going to have Swampert. You can use the Shadow version as well in the late here, and Swampert has only one weakness, and this one weakness is Grass type. So you have 2 perfect answers for this in the bag with the Noctowl, which is going to be your Safe Swap here. Noctowl will be able to even threaten the Galarian Stunfisk thanks to the move Shadow Ball here, which is amazing. And we're going to have then the cleaner here in the back, which is going to be the Pidgeot, going to be able to clean up the match by debuffing the opponent. If the opponent, for example, only has 1 Pokemon left and you have a Pidgeot still in the back there, you can just debuff them and they cannot swap out anymore. And then you're going to have also the move Brave Bird, which is going to nuke a ton of stuff. So really cool. You can just swap into your Noctowl, try to get out the potential Galarian Stunfisk. Have the Swampert as a perfect answer for those answers, as well as Swampert is able to destroy the electric types that you don't want to face as well. This team is a little bit weak against something like ice types. That's definitely something that you might want to take a look at. If you are a little bit too weak for that, you can also use something like a Medicham in the lead. This should also work pretty well, but otherwise this team most likely going to be very amazing. The next team going to be also very interesting. We're going to have a team around Auroras here, which is a Pokemon that got no access to the move Meteor Beam. That's going to be a very interesting one here, as Auroras has now way more potential as you can boost your own attack. You have a very strong move here, which you get faster because of Powder Snow, which going to one-shot nearly everything that you kind of want to face here. And this team itself is also pretty cool. You're going to be able to swap into your Say-So, which is going to be the Sableye here, which will be able to deal as well for like something like Steel types, which you don't really can face with the Elite there. And you will also be able to then lure out something like a Noctowl, which you don't want to face then with your Pokemon in the back with the Medicham here. So you kind of want to have the core between the Medicham and the Auroras, as well as you most likely going to see here that this team is pretty weak against Charm Pokemon. Charm got nerfed, so I don't think a lot of people are going to run it, so it should be safe to run something like a little bit unbalanced like this here. So I think this is a very cool team. Aurora is definitely a Pokemon that I kind of look forward to trying out again. Next team going to be around the Gliscor. Gliscor is a very cool Pokemon here as well, gonna get boosted as well thanks to the buff of Wing Attack, being a core breaker for a lot of Pokemon here, as you will be able to destroy something like the fighting types, as well as you have an answer for something like the Galarian Stunfisk. You're going to have access to Earthquake, which is going to be nice, and Night Slash is a very cool bait move as well, which has the chance to boost your own attack. As a Say-So, we're going to have the Lickitung here trying to bait out potential fighting types. I don't think we're going to see any other fighting type other than Medicham anymore, and you will be actually able to have a pretty decent matchup against this one as well with this Pokemon. And also you're very decent against potential ice types like the Walrein, as you have the move Power Whip here. Also against the Auroras, as you also have the Power Whip against this Pokemon. We're going to see in the back here the Registeel, which I think going to have a revival as well this season, going to counter something like the flying types as well as something like the Auroras or any other Pokemon like ice type Pokemon that you don't want to face with the Elite here. This next team going to feature a Pokemon that's going to have a lot of potential this season here. We're going to have Lantern in the back. I would actually recommend you to run the Spark version for this team, as this is not your Say-So, this is your closer. You're going to try to get out some flying types into this. There are going to be a lot of Say-Sops of Noctowl I would expect in the meta now, or a lot of Say-Sops of the Pelipper, and exactly those you're going to destroy with your Lantern here, as this thing completely hardwalls both of them. We're going to have the lead here of Medicham, which is supposed to counter something like the Galarian Stunfisk, which you really don't want to face with your backline. And you have the Say-So here of the Noctowl, which actually has some play against the Galarian Stunfisk now, which is amazing thanks to the Wing Attack buff. So basically you're going to have a very nice Pokemon to bait out the Galarian Stunfisk. You have a Pokemon that really benefits from this, and you're going to have a Pokemon in the back there with a Lantern, which benefits from the most common Say-So of the Noctowl. The next team going to be a double ice team here, which is supposed to counter the most likely a lot of annoying flying type Pokemon that's going to be available now. We're going to have the Say-So here of the Walrein. We're going to have the Pokemon in the back here with the Auroras again. Both of them are going to be amazing against the flying types that's going to be threatening the meta here right now. Definitely something that you have to take a look at as well. If you are a little bit unsure about the lead of Sableye, you can also use something like the Medicham in the lead again, but then you're going to be a little bit weaker against other Medichams as well, as it's going to be your best answer. With the Sableye, you have a better answer against other Medichams, which are going to still be there. Sableye is very neutral against a lot of Pokemon, especially against those Steel types that you don't want to face with the Pokemon in the back, and especially for the Steel types, you have the Walrein as a Say-So, as it has access to Earthquake. Shadow Walrein is better here, normal Sableye is better here, so that's basically what you have to know about this team. The next team doesn't have any buffed Pokemon on their team. You're going to have the Medicham in the lead, but you're going to have the Say-So here of the Galarian Stunfisk, and then either the Bastion or the Registeel in the back. So why is this team here then? This team basically tries to completely destroy the new meta, because you're going to have two good answers in the back for flying types. You're going to have Steel types, and especially here, which are going to have a big new revival there. And I think you're going to have a lot of good times with this team. If you are a little bit like, I don't know, if you don't really want to face the Medicham with this team, you can also run something like the Venusaur on the lead here. But I think like this kind of team style will be very dominant, especially also for the regionals. I think Double Steel is now the way to go, because you have so many flyers, and like you kind of just have to counter them, and those are the best counters. Especially Bastion going to have a revival here as well, being able to just farm down any Noctowl that comes on its way. So like this is going to be a very interesting meta that we're going to get here now. The final team are going to be around the Galarian Weezing, which now has access to the move Brutal Swing, which is going to make this very, very strong. This Pokemon has now a very good bait move. I would still run Overheat with it and not play rough, especially as a Say-So here, which is this Pokemon going to be for this team. You're going to have the Medicham in the lead again going to be able to counter those Pokemon like the Galarian Stunfisk, which you kind of want to bait out with this Pokemon here now. And then you have the options what you ever want to run in the bag. If Trevenant is still common, I would run the Noctowl in the bag, because then Trevenant has basically no chance against this team. Otherwise, you're going to have a lead and a backline weakness against the Trevenant if you run the Azumarill, but Azumarill has some other good matchups. It really depends on what you want to run. So yeah, this is going to be it for my video about the best teams for the Great League with the new meta, basically mainly with new meta Pokemon. New video coming out soon for the other Great League Cup as well, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like if you did, and I hope I see you in the next video. Have a great rest of your day. Bye!